Yo, sup. This is Wackaflcka, and today I'm going to do a VOD review here of one of my own games that I ended up losing, but I think it shows a lot of important kits that Twitch has that you can utilize to get a lead in your games, even though you don't really have a favorable lane. And also I'm going to show how I could have won this game with just a few easy steps. So I think there's a lot to gain from this video, which is why I want to show it even though I lose. And I ain't some, but that's fine. Only things to learn from. But first, I just want to show here, Ice Skating Man got rank 1 world, playing 98 tech. So yeah, that's fucking cool. 98 tech domination to rank 1 Twitch world. Damn. That's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I'm gonna just get into it. Again, just want to show some cool tricks you can do early game to kind of like escape the bad lanes that you might have. And just talk about some things through the mid game. And yeah, I'm gonna just commentate over them as the game goes, and then kind of give my thoughts through the game. What I could have done better, or why I'm doing them. Of course, this is like 5 days ago now, so it's gonna be a bit vague in my memory, which is gonna make it better in terms of like giving my ideas now, what I should have done or not. So yeah, let's just get started. I'm playing against Lucian Nami here, right? They have a carry in the mid lane, Elise jungle, Wukong top. It's all about icky for me to play against, right? Especially when I'm playing by myself. It's a master game. Karina has high damage, right? Lucian Nami is pretty dreadful for Twitch, especially with the Rakan, I think. So there's not really much to do there, which is why I kind of like came to the conclusion I should just give up the lane and then try to roam and get kills elsewhere to kind of get myself a lead. Right, and I start longsword here in 3 pots because it gives me a bit more sustain and damage early game. Usually when I go 90 attack I go Doran's Blade, because going Doran's Blade then allows me to just go Tiamat and Rune Hurricane and these kind of things. Whereas if you go longsword you're kind of going directly for that Kraken or some other item, right? That goes into your buff path. But in the games that don't plan on going directly into a mythic or something, then I will usually go Doran's Blade or something, or even Ring, if it's more of a tank support, like a Nautilus or something. And yeah, I mean the Rakan is actually pretty good with Twitch because you can go in stealth, and then you can sneak up to the enemy laner, be it the support or ADC, and then be even closer for your support, Rakan in this case, to or like E onto you and then W onto the enemy, right? So Rakan Twitch isn't actually bad. It's just that Nami Lucian early game is just way stronger, especially with Electrocute and Nami's E and Lucian double attacks, PTA. Like, you're not favored here at all, right? So I'm not really expecting to have much pressure in lane or even kill them. But of course we have to start in the lane because we can't really just start off roaming instantly, right? And it's pretty normal lane here. Just CSing, trying to get last hits. And as you can see from my last video that I talked about parallel laning, you can see when Lucian goes to trade with me, the Nami's also walking with him, right? So I can't really trade there because at that point it's a 2v1, so I just have to pull out again. And you see here as well, Nami's walking up, and then Lucian doesn't really walk up instantly, but he walks up like shortly after, which again prevents me from being able to make any trades because they're right next to each other. And at this point here, they're about to get level 2, or they have level 2 already. I'm not level 2, right? But I'm about to get it. I'm able to trade with Nami there, because again, Lucian not playing with her there, so I can do some trade with her without losing too much. But if Lucian chose to walk up there or stand a bit further up, I wouldn't be able to make that trade there. So, small mistake by Lucian there. Or Nami, in the case of her choosing to walk up. And of course, again, can't really do much here. Just have to try and get CS and not lose out. Right. Karina gets kill on Warwick there. And Syndra's also walking up there now. There was a lot of drama in this game, but it doesn't really matter. I think everyone was at least like a little bit calm-headed. And you can see now I start to look for a roam. Like, I don't want to really do much mid lane, or bot lane, sorry. There's not much going on there, I can't really do much. They're not going to expect me to roam now. And since I see that Warwick's coming, and Syndra's there, and how they're playing, I just feel like I should walk up here and try and do something. And then I just wait to see if Karina's going to take the E. Depending if she does or not, then I can go in, right? Which she did there for some reason. She shouldn't have done that, but, you know, helps out the lane. I'll lose on some, but I find it to be worth. They're not going to expect me to roam there. It's like, these are the little things you can look for in your games when you're playing versus someone that you can't really do much against. Because they're going to try and not instantly like push against you, because they want to kind of like freeze the lane or hold it back to deny XP and CS, right? Which is something they did there. They started to slow down a bit. And obviously now with us having gone mid lane, Warwick's able to come bot lane after, and we're able to get that double kill there. So I mean, I did get a lead on the bot lane here because of this, but it's something that I wouldn't have been able to do if I didn't go for the roam to begin with. Warwick might have not even tried to move at that point, so it all kind of like adds up, right? Now it's just about pushing the wave as fast as possible because I want to get a recall. So just getting rid of this next wave here so I can go for a back because I have 1500 gold, which is more than you should ever really stay with in almost any scenario. You should always try to look for a recall after 1k gold or a bit more than that. Because the second you're fighting with more than 1k gold in inventory, you're just going to lose out, right? And you can see that here, that us even staying there, we could have recalled earlier. It would have led to us not dying here. But they both die, so it works, right? But even though this worked, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good play, because you can't... I can't expect my mid laner to TP there. So that might have been something that would have been traded for nothing, right? Because if my bot laner or my mid laner didn't TP there, then we would have died for nothing. And I shouldn't do those kind of plays expecting my mid laner to TP. And I didn't really think they would, but it turned out well because of it, so that's nice, right? And since Syndra shoved that bot lane now, the obvious choice for me is to go mid lane to try and get the shove there, right? Don't want to lose any XP or gold across the map for anyone. Because it's important to kind of like spread out and make sure that you're absorbing as much gold as possible everywhere, right? So again, I'm going top lane now because I had the option to, right? If something happened top, I'm not going bot lane yet. They're holding the freeze, as I said, because they want to try and prevent us from getting any CS or gold bot lane, so they're going to freeze it for a bit. So the obvious choice to then, when they're doing freezes like this, is to just roam somewhere else, show yourself on the map, because you then force them to do something. Like, they can't keep that freeze up if I'm roaming and if Rakan is roaming. Like, holding that freeze stand is just going to lose them the game, right? So they're kind of pressured to like do something now, which is what they did. They pushed bot instantly, as you saw me top lane now. Syndra did something good there. She ran bot lane, allowing me to get the mid lane again. Again, talking about how to like spread out the gold income, making sure everyone gets as much money as possible, right? Because if Syndra stayed mid lane now, no one would have got the bot lane gold, because I wouldn't have been able to go there in time, right? So that was really well played by her. Rakan comes here, and we kill the Karina. So I mean, the game is set up for success at the moment, right? Like, we have a huge lead here. But that comp is really nasty with Lucian, Nami, Wukong. As probably every Twitch main knows, is a pretty troublesome champion for Twitch, especially with the stealth and knockups and all that shit, right? And I mean, 8-minute Kraken, if I had a duo here and like someone to play with me, and I didn't like kind of start autopiloting so much this game, it would have been easily winnable. But since I'm playing by myself, I don't really have anyone to play the game with, and I'm kind of just going with the flow, right? I'm not putting much thought into it. But as I said, this game could have been easily winnable if I had just done a few minor things here. But that's just how it is. we'll just see how it ends, right? I have Kraken now. Of course, I'm gonna destroy them because my damage is gonna be insane in comparison to theirs. And as you've seen, I haven't really been bot lane. I was bot lane that one time, killed them once after, and then after that, I made them top in all these other lanes. And this is my first time being bot lane again for a couple of minutes. I'm not sure why Nami opted for that play, but it's fine. It's good for me. I mean, looking back now, I think the game could have been way easier if I would have done some things differently, but it's just very hard to get things done as an ADC sometimes, because you have to like kind of follow other people's course. You're not as much of a decisive player, or like you're not able to be as decisive for your team when you're an ADC as opposed to if you're a jungler or someone with more agency, like a mid laner or top laner, right? Because you can't really make any calls or plays when you're playing ADC in most cases. People are just less likely to want to listen to you anyway. Right, I'm not sure what happened here. It's just what it is. This was a mistake by me though, I should have just recalled. But yeah, that's just how it is, right? That's the pro. I mean, I'm a bit behind on CS as post solution, as you can see. And yeah, Scale Force. Even though I was very quick on getting my Kraken, he somehow also has Scale Force. Because of the CS that he got from bot lane, I assume, and some plates. And I probably could have done my build a bit differently here, or a bit different. I suppose what I chose to go with. I mean, the Kraken and boots is fine, and not bad, I would say. But later on now, I went for LDR, right? And then I went with Sand into then Hurricane. And looking back, I should have maybe done that differently. I think it's good still because the damage I get, at least in the 1v1s and 2v2s and stuff like that, it's going to be very high in comparison to something else. But maybe a earlier Hurricane or something could have helped out also. But it's also because I'm playing Hail Blades here, not lethal tempo. I also get the fast free attacks, so that's why I kind of opt for a bit more damage. And this is a build I think is pretty good. It's something Rat did for a while. He went for Hail Blades with Kraken into LDR and with End, and then Tiamat. And I tried it a bit, and I think the damage is actually pretty good on it. It's obviously very unfortunate how the game went overall, because I think this game could have been very easy to end or win overall if we had played a bit better, right? But that's just how it is. It happens sometimes. This would have been my game to master. As you can see, everyone else in this game is master, especially at least on my team. I don't recall the enemy, but I'm pretty sure they were all mostly master as well. So yeah, I don't have ultimate here. I think it's something I maybe comment on later, I'm not sure. But it's one of the other fights. It's important to like let your team know that you can't really fight without ultimate, especially later on. So like communicating to your team and saying what you can do and not will be great help as to like winning the game or not. Because you know the limits of your champion, right? And your champion is very different, or Twitch, I should say, is very different as opposed to most other champions. In the sense of what he can do is very different as opposed to some other ones, right? Like if you have an ultimate and you get the right fight, like you can get a quick penna by like positioning yourself properly. So obviously letting your team know of your limits is something that is very important to do. And yeah, Syndra did a little yikes there. But as you can see, my damage is good, right? I have Kraken and my half complete with Sand here. This item gives me some attack speed, movement speed, and AT, which I find to be pretty good. which is why I opted to build this one now. I also couldn't buy Last Whisper at this point, which is why I opted for that. Right, and most of this game now is just straightforward in terms of like what happens. You're just picking up kills. There's not much really being done at this point. I mean, it's only 13 minutes into the game, right? So it's what it is. And I'm pretty sure that I need 500 gold now to complete my Wit's End. I don't have my ultimate yet. So it's just a waiting game, right? It's 14 minutes into the game. There's no Baron to play for. There's no Dragon to play for. There's nothing really going on. So it's just about waiting, playing smart, try not die, take some kills if you can. But if not, then just farm up, right? Get your items for the next dragon. You kind of want to like look ahead to what's happening in future, like in the future in the game, like what's gonna happen next. Like you see dragon spawning in 2 minutes 40, right? So the question you should ask yourself at this point here is like, what can I do in that time to become as strong as possible for when that moment comes, right? Like what items can I get until this dragon spawns, so I can have the most impact at the dragon. Like I don't want to have impact now, I want to have impact for when dragon spawns, right? And looking back here, I probably could have farmed Wit's End, just completed the item. The spike would have been a bit bigger. But it's still not bad. Usually want to go Last Whisper over something like, what is it called? Over Collector, if they have Tabai. And obviously Karina is going to get Hourglass, which is going to give her some armor as well. So the damage I'm going to get at that point is going to be greater with LDR as opposed to with or Collector. And I died to the Nami ultimate here on purpose because I wanted to give my shutdown to Nami. Right? I mean, the play was kind of int from Rakan, but overall it was fine because I killed Lucian. And then I ended up giving my 350 gold shutdown to Nami, as opposed to someone like Karina again, or Wukong, or even Lucian here. And it's one of the problems from this game here is that Karina managed to get quite a lot of shutdowns. She got one on me, and then she got one on Syndra. So like, even though she only has 4 kills, she's probably got like 2k gold in shutdowns, right? Now Rakan dying randomly. I'm getting red buff here. I need gold for LDR. I'm not going to be able to finish that until dragon spawns. So that's just what it is. My ultimate is about to come up. I'm not sure exactly when dragon is going to spawn. It's probably less than 30 at this point. My ultimate's up, right? But Syndra's dead. Chill's mistake. Rakan just spawned again. And like, these are some things, if you really want to have like good impact in the game, like whenever dragon's about to spawn, just ping it, spam ping it when it's 1 minute left, and just make sure that no one dies. Like if you have a good game and no one's tilted, like then, or your team's not tilted, you can prevent them from dying by spam pinging dragon and just say play safe, wait for dragon, just give them that little notification and they're not gonna die. Right? I of course don't exactly recall how Syndra died here, but I'm pretty sure I could have prevented her from dying by just pinging it and letting her know, right? I used my ultimate a bit too early here, which leads me to dying, because I shouldn't have used it that early. I could have waited a little bit longer there, because as you saw, I ended up not having it anymore because I used to use the repel, so I couldn't really walk up and hit anyone else. I had to just sit there and wait, which was a bit unfortunate. And Graves isn't very strong, so not much he can do, to be honest. Right. Like this fight here is fine. Like it's important to also like, look at how you play and like make sure that your teammates are ahead, which is also something I addressed in my other video. About the parallel laning, like making sure that people play in front of you and kind of like wait for the play to happen as opposed to like trying to force it yourself, which is something I could have probably done better there as well. It's just the way a bit. I know, like going as I did there. And I'm pretty sure I end up dying, you know. As you can see, Lucian army is pretty strong, right? There's not much to do there. And now it's about finishing my wit's end. My damage is pretty strong. I can probably one-shot just about anyone at this point. Someone ends up complaining about my LDR, the Warwick here, but he has no idea what he's talking about. It's a good item to go second. Even if the enemy just has tab buy, it's going to be better to buy LDR than it is to buy Collector. And especially with carrying the buying Hourglass and those kind of items, it's going to end up being a lot more worth than Collector as well. But like overall, the team is just very obnoxious. The Elise isn't that big of a problem, but Katarina and Warwick is, I mean, Katarina and Wukong is a huge issue for Twitch. Especially with Wukong going into stealth and being able to do the double knockups and all these things. It's not something Twitch is that good at dealing with. So I'm kind of having to hope that someone else is going to be able to deal with them. And I mean, you can see my burst damage here, right? Like, I do good damage. I screwed up my engage a bit here. And here Katarina comes. Like, that was misplay by me. I shouldn't have forced this. That was my mistake, right? I'm not sure what Syndra's top lane. I could have paid attention to that. So it's important to just not autopilot. Like, I ended up autopiloting here. And not paying attention to Syndra. With her there, I think it would have been fine, but I greeted there. So it's important to kind of like just take a step back and look, right? And that's something I end up not doing that much here. Which is ultimately the lesson of everything here. Is to just take a second in the middle of the game and just kind of like take a breather and just think like, what should I do now? Like, how can we win this? What's needed to be done? What do we need? Can we end the game? Are we easily going to be able to end the game, or is it more like a flip if we end the game, right? Because if you want to secure your win, you kind of want to play it safe, right? And if you can maybe end the game, but it's not like a sure call, then it might be a better idea to just wait and just do the safe play, like say Dragon or Baron, or stalling the game a bit longer if it's still going fine, right? Like there's plenty of options. In how to end the game. And the most difficult part of everything is kind of like to just get your team to play with you and like get along, right? Like if they all want to end and you think it's not a good idea, then it can be difficult to kind of force your team to come with you instead. But it's worth trying. And the first thing you can do then, as an example, to help like them come with you, is to not participate with what they're doing, and then kind of like force your ideology or what you want to do by going there instead. Like say they want to end, but you want to do Baron, then you just stand still, or you even go to Baron, and then you say, "Come here, we can't end right now. Like it's really stupid. Just take Baron, please, right?" And just really force them to come like to what you want to do. If you think it's a better idea, then you have to stand for it. And not walk with them and then be like, "Ah, fuck, I told you so," right? Like, I have to prove it. You can't say, "Oh, we need to go Baron, we can't end," and then you walk with them to try end, and then you all die. Then you're like, "I told you we should have done Baron." Like, that's not how it works. Like, if they want to end, you don't think you can do it, then don't go, and then just say, like, fuck it, right? Like, come Baron, like, it's stupid. And they get a second Drake here. And as I said, I don't have ultimate, right? So it's important to like kind of like tell them that they need to wait. Like tell them your game plan, right? Like let them know. Let them just know of your limits, like what you can do and can't do, and just tell them like we can't go yet. Wait my ass, spamming it. It's very important, and you can see how I'm autopiloting a lot now after the early game. Which is something I shouldn't have done, right? I should have paid a little bit more attention here, been a bit more on, and then this game would have been won, like without doubt. And again, more complaints about my LDR. And I would say that's a very good idea here. Especially if I'm just going damage like I'm doing now. Then I think LDR second is very good. I mean, I could have gone something like Gale Force here. To like avoid some damage maybe or something, but overall I think it's not bad. You can see here Karina has Wukong has Tabai, HP, all these other things. I'm pretty sure Elise has some armor as well now, she's starting to get. Which is why I press tab sometimes, right? I just look at the items a bit. I see what they have. So you want to look at what items your enemy team have and then kind of like think around that, right? Like here we have a perfect position. You'll see that just get shredded, right? Like here it's an easy commitment. But why they're going back, I'm not entirely sure. They're all going back for the lease. Although it works out fine, right? I had exhaust there. That was a really good fight balance. And like even here we might have been able to end if we all committed. Right? So this game is also all about like people don't want to go for the same thing and kind of like being a bit all over the place. We'll see how what happens. I'm pretty sure someone doesn't commit. Right, Nami spawn, but then people pull back. Right. It's not bad still though. Like we got the turret and the base is open. Baron's about to spawn again. But like they can't really do anything here now. Because we shoved the entire lane, right? And it takes at least like 5 seconds to get the wave shoved back. So even if we all die here, it's not really bad. And the fact that their base is open just makes everything a lot better, right? Graves insta. For some reason they're not going to Baron yet, which I found kind of weird. Because they could have just gone for that directly. But now I'm not sure if they would take it or not, because we can contest them. But it's again the problem of Syndra just going side lane here. Like Baron's up. She should join us. We could even go for a mid push here together. And looking back, it's probably what we should have done here. Like, at this point here, we don't need to take Baron even. We just have to siege mid and go together. We would have ended the game. But I was just so autopiloted here. I'm not sure why. But like, we could have just shoved together mid lane now, and then just ended it. Like, almost certainly. Because of how our comp works, as long as we stick together and we don't get one shot by the carry now, and we actually have like some open area to fight in, that is not too spread out in the sense that they can't come from several angles and kind of like sandwich us, and we're able to keep that front to back kind of like fight going on, which is something we could have been able to do if we were to just force the base and play it slow. Then we could have made sure to have a front to back fight, and then we could end it very easy. Especially now after I finish my Hurricane, which is just 100 gold away or something. Right, but I want my Hurricane here. Right. So it's all about like planning on things you want to do and make sure everyone's on the same page here. Like Syndra wants to go mid lane. We could have all gone mid together and it would have worked. I shouldn't have stood where I stood because it just doesn't work. Like I should have just stood back. I had Hurricane coming up, right? So that's huge. So I definitely could have like waited for that, played a bit safer, and I wouldn't have died there. And then played more with the team, paid more attention. If I see Syndra being like that, I should have stopped her and been like, don't tilt, like just play it slow, you know? Like don't do that, it's stupid. Right? Which it was. Like she started to just run it. Like we should have grouped up. So by just putting some emphasis on getting people to group up or come together and just play it slow and kind of like wait further back. Like if I wasn't stood in the middle of the lane here, in the absolute middle of the map, and I would have just waited and just told everyone to group and just stay so far away from anything that nothing could be forced, like they did here, like fight us and kill us. We definitely could have like gone in and ended it, but because we're so spread apart and just all on a different page here, we really couldn't do anything, right? And like again, just an in-play here. Just walking in like this. Both Dragon and Baron is up, right? So going for Dragon here, definitely the right call. This is a bit of an int, once again. Right? It's just not paying attention, just being frustrated here, just leading to us making these bad calls. And not taking like a breather to like kind of like just look back and see what we need to do. Right? You can see how we're all just like so autopiloted and just went in the game, right? And I complain here like, why am I even going with you guys anymore? And by what I mean here, we can force them into us, is we can go to Dragon or Baron and then force them into us. Whereas we went into them there and got sandwiched and died, right? But if we would have done the opposite there and got them to like force into us, meaning we get control over Dragon or Baron, and then we start doing that objective, we would then force them into us in a way that we could control them and also take them down, right? Like we have a counter stop their engage. But we just ran at that mid lane with 3 people and just instantly died to Wukong and carrying, right? So the lesson here in the end game here is to really just take a step back when these things happen. Like normally if I'm playing with someone, I would be a lot better. But if I'm playing with myself, I get caught off guard sometimes and I just start autopiloting, which is something that's been done now for probably 10 minutes in this game, a bit more. It's been pure autopilot for me and probably the rest of the team as well. So it just really shows this like importance of just making sure you're doing the right call and just taking a second to kind of like think about it, right? Like, yeah, fights are just happening out of nowhere for no reason, constantly. Not necessarily bad fights, but they could have been way better. Right? Like, we get a carry in Wukong, which is arguably like one of the bigger threats in our team. And of course, could have probably gone back to base there, but it's just what it is. We could have probably held them with Warwick there if we would have just gone back to base somehow and then played it slow, but it's just what it is. But I'd definitely say that I could have 100% won this game if I would have just paid a bit more attention and just kind of like had the game plan on my own and just kind of like let everyone else on it and just say like, play slow, let's all go Baron, group up, don't push so far out, you know, just stay back and just relax and just wait. Right? This was before I got Masters. It's kind of good that I didn't win this game, to be honest, because my duo wasn't promised yet, so we got to play them together. But yeah, hope you guys got something from this. Like, if you have a bad lane, just roam a bit. And when you get to the mid game, really just take a second to like think. like how you want to end the game. Like you might feel pressured by the team. Like I might have felt a bit pressured there by Syndra because she's stamping right in this lot going on, and you're a bit like tilted yourself. But just taking a 5-second breather and just like breathe, you know, and then just look at them up. Just pause the game for like 2 seconds. Just unwrap everything and just really think like, what do I need to do and how do I make it happen? And then just do that, and then you'll win the game. Like without a doubt, this would have been 100% winnable if I just didn't do what I did, which was just space out and just walk with the team and just not pay attention to anything. I didn't call anything out. Like, sure, you can have success like playing full mute and just playing the game, but it just really shows like how important it can be to just communicate sometimes and just let your team know like this is not going to work out. We need to wait a bit, you know. And it's really impactful. So I really encourage you guys to try that yourself. Obviously, don't flame your team and be negative. Just be constructive and say like, don't do this now. It's stupid. It's in. Like, don't do that. Play slow. Play dragon. Play baron. Don't end like group. You know, and say group, and then don't just say group and then go. Just don't assume that you grouped. Wait for your entire team to be there. Like literally, just say like something like, come all here now, like group up together and just wait. Like just type what you need to type. Like, I will not go anywhere until we fight together. Come here now. And just wait for your team and then go. Like, that's going to make a huge difference. And you're going to win way more games because of it. Like, as I said again here, this would have been easily winnable. But it is what it is. It happens. But yeah, hope you guys got something out of it. Hope you guys continue to have a good morning, night, evening, whichever one fits. Shit like that. This has been a Wackaflcka talkover. So yeah, peace out. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you guys continue to have a good one. And yeah, once again, peace.